let's go, man. We're not gonna waste any time in this tutorial. My man waited long enough for a cut. As you can see, it looks like his hair hasn't been picked in months. The sides haven't been touched. But today we're gonna go ahead and change his life. So to start off this cut, I'm gonna go ahead and pick out the hair first. And the reason I like to begin the haircut by picking out the hair is just to make sure that everything is nice and elevated, so we could get a nice clean cut when knocking down the top. So right here I have my 4 guard with the lever open, so really a 4.5, and I'm gonna go ahead against the grain and knock down his hair. Now my client's hair at a 4 is still pretty long, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick it out once more and then go through it again to make sure that it is truly a 4 guard open. But that 4 guard still leaves enough length on top that when we come in with the sponge, he has a nice twist and a nice curl. But on the sides, you can tell his hair, it grows in a lot of different directions. It's not as dense in some areas, so this fade is definitely going to be challenging, but I'm going to show you guys how to finesse it and get it right. So we're establishing our bald line in the back first, because I want both sides to drop evenly towards the back without the fade being higher on one side than the other. So I went to the top of the arch and I dropped it to connect with the back. So as you can see, bottom of the arch, slope it around his ear and connect it right there in the back. And I just feel it complements the client's head shape a lot better. And now we're going to come in with the trimmer to bald out the bottom. And I'm staying a little below the top of that clipper closed because I don't want to create a harsher line than I need to. And in this portion of the haircut, I tried to get through it fairly quickly. A lot of barbers, especially me in the beginning, spent a lot of time in the balding out of the fade, when honestly you're gonna blend it out anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And now we're gonna come in with the shaver just to get it a little closer to the skin and allow that fade to last a little longer. So now we're coming towards the back, doing the same thing. I'm not taking it up too high. I'm staying below the top of that guideline or that bald line, allowing the weight of the shaver to do the work. And now we're going to get into the fade. So we're going to come in lever open, going up about a finger's width. And when I say that, all I mean is put your finger right where you left off with the bald line and make the width of that guideline the width of your finger. And I'm dropping it towards the back, still maintaining that shape that I established with the clipper closed. And I'm moving pretty efficiently here. I don't want to waste any time, trying to get it perfect, because again, we're gonna blend it out. So now we're gonna go with our 1 guard all the way open, doing the same exact thing, a finger's width, and we're just moving up little by little. And as you can see towards the top of his parietal ridge here on the left side, that area is naturally just not as dense. So I'm going to show you guys how to blend right into that with some clipper over comb. So usually in my fading videos, I go straight to a 2 guard and then blend down. But here I'm going to show you a different technique where I'm using the comb to transition that 1 open into the top. So I'm coming in with that comb and flaring out slightly. And any hair sticking out of the comb, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. So I'm using the comb as a guard here because that comb against the head is equivalent to a 1 guard. So I know at the lowest point, I'm blending from that 1 open. And then as I move up, I'll flare that comb out wider to go ahead and keep the hair longer. And this right here saves a lot of time. I don't have to go back and grab a guard and do a whole bunch. Clipper over comb is very efficient when you learn how to use it correctly. And as you can see, it's feeding through the hair very nicely. Everything is starting to come together. And I have the lever open on my clipper here. And we're still smoothing everything out, getting rid of any dark spots. And you'll see when I'm coming upwards with the clipper, I'm using that comb as a guard. And now we're going to drop down to our 1/2 guard open, and then we'll close that little by little. So I started off open, then I closed the lever, and then I open it again, and we're just playing with that lever, trying to see what works and what doesn't, because even as the hair is shorter, you can tell it grows in a lot of different directions. So we're trying our best to get it as consistent as we can. And now for the last line, I'm going to come in with my clipper closed, and then I'll open up that lever little by little as I just did right here. And I'm being sure when I'm coming up into that line, I'm not taking it up too high. So I'm coming in close, tapping, open it a quarter of the way, then I open it halfway, and then I'll fully open it. And when I get to fully open, I want to use a lot of the corner of the blade to make sure, you know, that I don't take it up too high, and I also can go ahead and detail those dark spots. So now I grabbed my half guard, and we're going to detail just a little bit more. And we're through our fading system already, so now we're going to spend this time in the fade to go ahead and detail just a little bit. So I'm back to my 1.5, and I'm cleaning up where I did the clipper over comb. And this texture here is definitely no joke. I remember when I first started cutting my guy Micah's hair, man, I had a very difficult time because at first we did a taper, which wasn't too bad, but when we did the fade, man, was it hard to make sure that that thing was consistent all the way through, just because of the way his hair grows. So now I'm going to go ahead and pick the hair out, and then I'm going to do some clipper over comb again. And that's because I want to make sure that everything's nice and blended. So if you're enjoying this tutorial thus far, I have some good news, man. This month I will be dropping my online academy where there'll be way more in-depth content, higher quality, as if you're in person with me cutting hair. So if that's something you are interested, head over to the link in the description for the academy, enter your email, and be the first to know when it drops. And now to soften this blend up, we're going to go ahead and do some thinning shear over comb. And this is just to hit any dark spots directly and really detail and soften this blend up. But for what we were working with, I think this blend came out pretty fire. And now to blend into his beard, we're going to go ahead and just do a reverse taper. So we're going to come in with our lever open. And then to get rid of the line in between, I'm going to close and then open it up little by little. Super simple, super easy, not much work. And now we're going to grab our one guard and do the same exact thing. And you notice with this client, I established my guidelines lower, but after we went ahead and faded everything, it already looks a little higher than what it was supposed to be. And that's just because of his hair texture. So I like to establish his lines lower in order to maintain exactly where I want the fade to be, if that makes sense. And now for his hairline, which is also a very challenging part of this haircut, we're gonna go ahead and taper it down with our one guard open. And you'll notice his hairline is naturally just wavy, which means it's not straight across. So in order to give it the illusion of it being straight, I have to lift up the corners just a little bit. So I'm starting in the middle and then working towards his left corner. Taking my time here, trying to make sure that, you know, I don't push it back unnecessarily. And now we're going to go to the vertical bar. And then we'll meet those 2 points in the corner. Now there was some weight in the corner, so I did some trim over comb in order to lay it down a little more. And now we're going to go right into it. And you'll see after the lineup, it really frames everything out, makes everything look a little more finished. So we know exactly what we need to do in order to make sure this haircut is as clean as possible. So now I'm just detailing a little more, trying to get it as sharp as I can. And that thing is looking very clean. And we're just working with what we got, man. That's all we can do as barbers, is what we get in our chair, try our best to make sure that we make it look as clean as we can. And now I did the same thing to that right corner. And after we line it up naturally, we're going to go and enhance it just a little bit. So I'm going to start in the vertical bar, and I'll spray lightly and then darken it up as needed. And now we're going to use our enhancement card on the front hairline as well. And this is just to prohibit any overspray. I want it to, you know, spray exactly where I want the color to be. And that thing is looking super clean. But you see, even after, you know, we blended and detailed the fade, just because of the way his hair grows and how swirly and light and dark it is, you know, you could tell it was very difficult. So if you ever cut someone with this hair texture, you have to understand that it's not going to be perfect, but you want to make sure, you know, it's all in the details. So now we're going to go ahead and line up the back and the bottom of the beard, which I believe really frame out the beard, especially with short beards, and make it look as full and as dark as we want it. So I started in the back, and now I'm going to go to the bottom. Now this client already cleaned up the bottom of his beard, so we're just going to go ahead and, you know, make it a little more symmetrical, a little sharper. And our goal with lining up the bottom of the beard is really just to get rid of all those hairs that are thinner, that look see-through, because those take away from the actual, you know, darkness of the beard, and we don't want that. We want the beard to look as full as we can. So that's what we're trying to do when we frame out the bottom. In some situations, I would say the back and the bottom of the beard are the most important, because that's what makes the beard look the fullest. So now for the top of the beard, I like to start by having the client blow a bubble, and then I'll create 2 reference points at the top and the bottom, and then connect those 2 points in the middle. And then after we get that initial line, we want to go ahead and brush that line away and then reline it, just to make sure that our client truly has a sharp line. And now we'll move on to the hairline. So we're just going to frame and clean up the hairline as well. And we're just trying to get rid of any stubble that the trimmer couldn't quite get. And from this angle, this haircut is really hitting, looking super clean. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, bringing that razor right to the line. And now we're going to line up the other side of his beard, which the other side of his beard is a little lighter than his left. But we want to make sure that they both are symmetrical and are lined up to the same point on the mustache. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to have him blow a bubble. And you can see after the lineup, the beard already looks so much fuller. But fam, we're going to go ahead and dampen up his hair, get it ready for the sponge, finish off this cut. Now I forgot to get an after of this cut, but this is pretty much how it came out. Listen, if this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want way more in-depth, higher quality content to learn how to cut hair, make sure to hit that link in my bio, and that'll take you to the waitlist for my academy that will be dropping this month. So if you're interested, head over to the description, press the link in the bio, and I will see y'all in the academy. But also, if you're still here, January 14th in Dallas, Texas, I will be at the Barber Plug Experience teaching a class. Alright, so if you guys want to come pull through, the link will be in the description to go ahead and purchase your tickets. I hope to see you guys there. Again, January 14th in Dallas, Texas, Barber Plug Experience. Come see your boy and many others. I will see y'all there. Peace.